Yo, what's good guys, Venom Fire here back on the video, and today we're going to hop into a money play in Madden 22. We're going to be going over the PA boot over play. Going to go over all of these setups. We got a ton of setups for this play. Definitely if you run bunch tight end, worth watching. If you run gun bunch out of Seattle playbook, it is also worth watching because it can definitely be added to your game. I have a ton of videos on bunch tight end, a lot of gameplays, a lot of separate videos as well, so I do urge you guys to go ahead and check those out. In addition to watching this video, you can definitely get a lot of information on the formation and really build a complete scheme on it. Now, taking a look at what we're in, we're going to be in the Kansas City offensive playbook. Of course, it's also in Seattle, as previously mentioned, in Jets, in Jaguars. Same playbooks, same old, same old. We're in Kansas City. I think that's the best one personally, but again, you can really run this out of any. Now, again, the play we're running PA boot over, the classic play. You always see this, and we're going to show you guys what I like to do out of this. Now, again, these are going to be setups that you guys might have seen before. A lot of these should be new, but yeah, the one thing I do, you don't really need anything for personnel. Just get good pass catching back, good mobile quarterback for the scheme, and some fast wide receivers. But without further ado, let's jump straight into it. So again, it is nice to have a mobile quarterback. You can use Lamar, you can use Micah Vick, you can use Kyler as seen here. Really just anybody fast in this scheme will definitely work better. It's a lot of scrambling out, it's a lot of rollout drills, but definitely a solid scheme. And we're going to start out with first setup. And our first setup that I like to go to is you can really just run this stock. So you just block your tight end, keep the play action. You could really just kind of run this stock. Definitely would be a solid play there. You see us hitting the crosser, but really just gives you three outside threats. It's going to be difficult for him to take away all three. So again, just basic. This is a really good quick snap play as well. Now, if you want to throw the crosser against this look, maybe it's better to wait a little bit because you can see how it takes a little bit of time for that deep post to get over the top, even with a guy like Rondale Moore on that assignment. So technically could be a little bit better if you waited. But yeah, man, this is the first way to run it. Second way to run it is going to be, and we're going to go through these setups pretty fast. Again, we have a lot of setups. But for our second setup, what we're going to go ahead and do is put James Conner on a little out route to the left. So again, the scheme also obviously was a lot better with the delay fades. They don't really work the same anymore, which is a good thing. I think we can all agree on that, but it definitely did hurt this play. But this setup's still really good with this running back route, man. He definitely does a lot. It's really just the first setup, but you're just adding a threat to the left. A lot of times you'll see the user immediately go with the crosser when they see any kind of a play action or any kind of a crosser develop from Kirk. They see him on a crosser, they're going to follow him, and that's where easy hit this route. And you see we don't have anybody on the left, but we just get a really good angle on that. I think the deep post from that slot spot does a decent job of actually pulling up the zones. So again, keep him there. You see, even if you wait, he does come down a little bit, but you still have enough space to almost pick up a first down, which is absolutely insane. So yeah, this is ultimately should be your read. Rarely do I see the user follow the left side, because with the right side, at least you have a potential chance to take away two routes. If you user the left, you're going to allow us to just really do whatever we want over here. We could hit D-hop right here. And again, this is just a stock cover 3 look, nothing special about it. See, again, if they user to the left, that's a good thing. Realistically, if they do, you could also kind of throw Kirk in the middle of the field. So maybe we're able to throw Kirk like right here because, again, his user is going to be down low to the left. So it can definitely open up some spaces right about there. But we'll show this one more time because, again, this is probably my favorite setup out of the play. Now, I know a lot of guys do like having this play action, but definitely I think it's better to have that running back route. It adds a lot to the play, and it's only helping you really. You still have 6-man protection, so of course your protection should still hold up with the tight end blocking there. Next setup we're going to go to is, again, a 6-man protection. You'll see a lot of 6-man protections, whether we use the running back or the tight end, but we're going to go ahead and put B on a slant, actually, and what we're going to do is put James Conner on a out route. So we're going to put him on an out route like this. We're going to motion DeAndre Hopkins over, and this is our setup. Really good setup. You have a backside slant, and with the slant, what you can actually do, I know a lot of guys aren't big fans of this motioned over slant for good reason. You could actually just go with a backside drag if need be, but this just gives them something to look at. It's pretty much the same setup as the last one we did when you go with this, but it's just something else to look at. Can definitely add to confusion, especially when they start committing to defending that inside running back route. You throw them to the outside, whether it's man coverage or whatever, this could definitely throw some people off. So I do appreciate it from that standpoint. But again, here's a look at your setup. And realistically, if you actually kept DeAndre Hopkins in that spot, it wouldn't be the worst thing ever, but definitely is going to be a little bit better like this. And again, you can see, hit the low ball if it's man coverage. He'll create some nice separation as well. So if they are using some form of man coverage, this should be pretty dang good against that. We'll show it one more time, but I know some people might like the tight end out route, so you realistically, maybe you could go with this. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but this would be a good way to keep the play action if you wanted it. So if we want the play action, now we have a tight end out route, but you see, he's just not going to work the way that he normally does against man coverage, and ultimately it's just not going to be as effective as, you know, the route running and pass catching ability of a guy like James Conner out of the backfield versus a tight end like Ertz. Anyways, moving into some of the other setups you can go to, I'll show a variation of this. I think guys like throw and run this setup, the little curl flat setup, pretty good. Again, you can actually motion him out if you want, and this will open up Rondale Moore a lot more than if he's in the slot. So that's something that I usually go to if I'm running this setup personally. I'll show you what it looks like. But again, the setup, curl X, flat B, put your running back on a little out route. That's what I like to do personally. I've seen people wheel him, so you could definitely go with that adjustment. But yeah, you see Rondale Moore, he's not going to be open as early. You're going to have to wait a little bit for the crosser to develop for him to be open, but he still ultimately does get open. I'll also show a different way to do it with some other motion. But again, he's not open. You wait a little bit, and that is open. Of course, we have a slow linebacker at that position. A safety might be a different story. So keep that in mind. But yeah, just a decent setup. Realistically, I could go with max protection out of this, but if we want, we definitely can roll out here. And you see this crosser is really never going to be defended by any stock coverage. You're going to need a zone drop to defend it. Man coverage won't defend it. So you really ultimately need a zone drop to go ahead and stop this route. Of course, I'll show it one more time, then we'll hop into another setup. Not necessarily another setup, but more so another variation. But we know about James Conner. Throw him out of the backfield. You can pick up yards at any time against man coverage, against zone coverage. Even what looked like a hard flat there with the stock curl flat, the way that they play, he didn't really stop, and we picked up an easy 5 yards. Now, another way I like to do this, and this is a setup that I used to do out of inside switch, but I might actually flip these routes. So we put Hopkins on the curl, Rondale on the flat, and something you can actually do is motion Hopkins out here. Now, it is going to be a little bit slower, and you notice what happens here, and this is a good trick for any kind of a zone coverage. What happens here is the linebacker is going to motion out. So this is something I use a lot in the run game, for example. If I'm running inside zone, we motion him out, and see how the hook curl follows. This is just going to open up a huge gap over here. The blocks didn't develop the way we wanted, but you see the job was still done the way that we wanted it. So it's the same thing with this flat. If you were really trying to open up Christian Kirk in that middle of the field, and again, if you want, you can always send the tight end on the little streak. That just it's only going to help you. It's never going to hurt you. But you motion Hopkins out, same deal. He's going to motion out, so the hook curl is not going to be in position to defend that, and that is where, boom, you can hit him open. So some basic stuff right there. Now moving on to some other setups. What I like to do is actually create a little max protect type setup. Again, we're actually going to block 7 for this one, but we're just going to put X on a little in route, be on a streak, and we're just going to motion Hopkins over just like so. You can also fade him. I know people like the fades off of motion a lot more, so that definitely could be an option. But if he's sending pressure at you, you feel the presence of his nickel 2-4-5 odd blitz, whatever blitz he's running, this is definitely a good option to go to without a doubt in my mind. So definitely can be solid, or definitely a good play. So again, streak B, put X on a little in route. You could also drag him. I like the dig a little bit better, but you're going to block everybody. And again, with the motion snapping, I do believe the fade is a little bit better personally, so we might just fade him if we're going to motion snap him. If we want to set him, we certainly can, but good little high-low between X and Y. Again, you're really only expecting him with the blitz to be able to defend one. He's going to need either a 30-yard flat, which I don't expect him leaving a 30-yard flat alone, and he's going to want to defend the middle of the field, so one of those two guys should realistically be open. And again, you're expecting him to send pressure. You might have to engage with the lineman or distract one of the offensive linemen, so you're expecting that maybe he's not able to get that out there as quickly. And even if he is, you have this threat that is so unmatched of the way that Kyler Murray can get out of the pocket. So there you see the streak. It's not even close with how slow that streak is off the motion. So definitely fade him if you're motioning him out. But again, with the blitz, it's really easy to escape the blitz with this route. or with this play action. So if you're ever trying to scramble out, definitely use that. Moving on to some other setups for this play, one thing that I like to do is go with this little hitch type combo. So I might just put X on a little hitch, or B. We could go with either of these guys. Generally, I think I hitch X, but we'll fade B. Go with like a little option and hitch combo. Just two routes sitting down. What these guys do is they actually do a pretty good job of pulling zones over as well. So again, maybe if I wanted to get a little bit crazy, we could go with maybe like a flat with X or hitch, something like this. We streak A. You could do something like this if you wanted. Definitely could be solid. And there you see the hitch gets opened up a lot more than it did on that first play. So if you are trying to get the hitch open, that could ultimately be a good setup. But going back to the original setup, what we did, once again, was this. This is a good job. I think James Conner gets open a lot on here. He also is pulling down number 48. So you see 48, he's going to get pulled down, and this is just going to open him up. You also notice that the curl flat actually follows with the option as well. So it's not a concern that the curl flat's going to follow up. Although curl flats wouldn't follow a route 30 yards down the field anyway, it definitely is only going to be helpful towards you. Moving on to some other things that you can go ahead and do actually is you can go with a little out route combination where you motion Hopkins over, keep the deep post, and go with something like this. This is certainly an option with the little motioned out route. I like that route a lot. Roll out, hit the crosser. You can roll out, hit your deep post depending on the coverage. So that's an option. Another thing that you can actually do, and again, we're blocking our tight end, putting the Conner on the out route to the left. Another thing you can do is actually go with the zig combo. So as I motion the incorrect guy, so I'm just going to snap this, but you kind of can see what I mean. Instead of the out route, we go with the zig. But the zig is definitely helpful. I like the zig a lot off the motion snap because it's a lot less cutting. It's just he's just going to get in his route, and he can it almost delays it, which actually helps it. So again, this would be your setup. You motion over the zig. He's going to get around here, snap the ball. And again, this is all with no abilities, but you see how the zig's a little bit slower, so it can definitely get open, and it can actually push the curl flat up the field and open up either the zig, or it holds down the curl flat a lot longer, which will definitely open up your crossing route. If I want to go with that combination, but I want the curl over here, this is certainly an option. So we can curl Rondale Moore. We can put James Conner on his route over here. We can actually streak A if we wanted. So we can go with something like this, and this is an insanely good setup. Rondale Moore can definitely get opened up. And again, this is a basic cover 3 defense. Normally on the offense, you're not expecting people to go with 2 hook curls in the middle of the field. At the most, they're going to have one extra one plus their user. A lot of times, it's just their user in the middle of the field, so a lot of these routes that are covered by the computer in online play, you can definitely expect them to probably be a little bit more open. Now, again, we showed a lot of 6, 7-man protections, so we do want to get some 5-man protections in there. If he's rushing 3, you're not going to sit there blocking 6, 7 every single play. You still definitely want to incorporate this play action. And again, if we really wanted to, we could definitely just streak A and run this play like this, or we motion over X on a slant with that. But yeah, the play action is definitely going to help if you want to scramble out, keep the play action. One last idea, piggybacking off of that little slant combination, so you can slant. You could actually flat over here. So I'll show another setup with this, with the a normal, or with the running back out on the route. But there you see a motion slant with the crosser. You have a streak. Last setup we're going to go to. And you can kind of flip B and X on a lot of these setups actually, but this is the last one. A lot of intermediate routes, but you got a slant, you got a flat, you got a out route with James Conner, and then you have your crosser. And again, you see the one route we're keeping every single play. It's the crosser. Crosser helps so much, and it's really a difficult route to defend. It's almost forcing the user to pick him up. So we're almost using that as a decoy in all these setups to open up the curls, the hitches, the zigs, the out routes, the drags, anything else. But yeah, man, if you enjoyed, want more videos like this, drop a big thumbs up on the video. Follow my links down below in the description. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a big thumbs up, and peace. I'm out of here.